Uh, Next up, we're going to talk about this clip that we saw. Someone's trying to explain why relationships today are not working out. So while we get that queued up, I want to remind everybody, if you're watching this video, please subscribe to the channel, man. We certainly appreciate your support and logical content as we continue to supply the channel and you, if you're so inclined, with some good content. Something to watch, something to listen to throughout the week, man. So we certainly appreciate you supporting the channel, man. Couldn't thank you enough for supporting the Conscious Approach channel. But this clip we ran across, this woman is attempting to explain why relationships today are failing. The origin of this clip, I believe this is a TikTok clip, but we pulled down like a 60-second shorter version from our Content Factory World Star. And so she basically just, went in for a hot minute on why relationships are not working. Relationships are a popular topic all over the podcast and content world. So we are no different in terms of being able to take advantage of the relationship between relationship commentary, no redundancy intended, and content creators such as ourselves. So yeah, she gave her thoughts on why relationships aren't working, and we will react to that once we actually watch what she had to say.
Hardest part about dating right now.
Okay, can I tell you guys something? I haven't dated a girl in like 6 months.
The reason why dating isn't working anymore is because everybody has too many options. Everybody has a backup plan. Nobody has compassion anymore. Nobody wants to listen to their partner because they think it's controlling. Everybody wants to do whatever the fuck they want and act as if they don't have a partner. And also, when times get hard, you guys decide to leave. How do you think our parents and stuff dealt with things? They didn't just walk up and leave and say, oh, I can find better. No, you sit there and you learn from each other. You help each other grow. You forgive each other. And that's how you build that strong dynamic and become a strong couple. Now, I'm not talking about cheating, abuse, all that stuff. No. We're talking about normal things that you can forgive your partner for. And then another thing, too, social media has killed it. Y'all care too much about likes, whose DMs he in, whose messages he in. Like, there's no love anymore. And the way women are, when y'all go on dates, you're worried about how expensive the date is, what he's gonna buy you, instead of actually caring about the guy. Y'all don't vibe no more. There's no more undying love. Y'all just use each other to get by till you find.
Wow.
Boom. Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all just use each other to get by. So yeah, do you buy what she's selling?
Yeah, I'm buying that. I'm buying that. I've been hollering this for a minute. This is what's going on. This is what's going on in the world, man. But I think I brought this up, I guess, last time we had spoke. But when people don't have good examples of what a relationship is, well, they're not going to know what to do when they're actually in one.
No, they're not even going to know how to they're not even going to know how to identify one.
Right. And because children emulate their primary caregiver. So whoever that is. And so while they're emulating that person, if they're watching that person not be in a marriage, for instance, then in that situation, they're watching their parent, either mother or father, date. So that's a dynamic. If there is marriage going on, I'm pretty sure there was some tense moments going on. And the child said, hey, I don't think that this marriage thing is what it's all cracked out to be. And so let me try to evaluate something else or do it different than how my people did it. Because my mom dealt with XYZ or my dad dealt with XYZ, and I ain't gonna be in nothing like that. So there's a lot of variables that play into the mindset of today's modern people, and us, our generation included. And so we saw different things in a world and in a place where things are chill. Like, we didn't grow up with segregation and weird stuff like that. Like, we went to school with all kinds of ethnicities and stuff. So that's next level for my dad. My dad didn't have that experience, but I did. And so I grew up in a different world, and we saw different things. We had sitcoms and stuff like that when we was coming up, and TV was really well oiled at that point. And so things were just, our generation saw things differently. And so we looked at our elders and we was like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. On top of the indoctrinations of just have fun, just have fun, just have fun. Then, everybody's out here really just trying to have fun. And like she says, people have way too many options. Absolutely. And with the because just one aspect of it, people from whatever can keep up with their classmates. Like, we've never lost contact with people that we went to elementary school with in some cases because of social media. But my dad, he would say, "Yeah, I seen blah 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 over there by the expressway." And that's how he got to see his old classmates.
Yeah.
So we are well connected. There's so much connection. And so with that, there's all of these options. And I say, hey, if you want to point to your old generation of people and they say, well, they were married for, grandpa was married for, I don't know how many years, 50, 60, 70 years, But if grandpa, back in the day had a smartphone and he can, swipe left or swipe right, he'll be liking Anna Marie's and Mary Jo's pictures, and he was going to be DMing people, and he was going to get in trouble, and that relationship was going to end. He didn't have options. His mailbox was a mile away. So things were different. So my whole thing is, now with all of these things, people at this point in human history have to be at the sharpest they've ever been, because there's so much temptation around every corner. And the sharper you are, the less susceptible you are to all of this mind control and propaganda that's going on. But the thing is this thing it casts a broad net, and it's caught a lot of people in it. And so now everybody is feeling the same type of fever of, oh, you tried me, I don't play that, cut off. Oh, you tried me, I don't play that, cut off. Because why? Because I got options in my phone. I got exes from long way back that I can just whoop and we can reconnect. So with all of that type of stuff going on, why keep it in the pants? So yeah, people have to be highly evolved and highly mature if they want to live in today's modern world and not get swept up in all these waves. So that's how I, initially feel about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Towards the end of her commentary, it kind of started to sound like her opinion was more woman centric. So at the end of it, she started getting into, you're worried about how much the guy can pay for the date and how much he can do for you and all of this kind of stuff. It kind of sounded like towards the end of it, it was leaning more towards it being a commentary on why they fail because of what women are doing. At least that's how I took that towards the end. And we talked last week about Lori Harvey and how Lori Harvey talks about how she dates on her own terms. I believe that to be code for I enjoy being a casual dater. But women get spurned for using such language in I guess regular society, so they have to code what they say. Now I feel bad for them in that regard. I think that if a guy says I got a whole lot of holes, I think women should also be able to say I got a whole lot of holes. I think the door should swing both ways at this point. So I don't like the fact that women still today, despite all of this equality, sexual liberation, and sexual equality stuff that we got going on, still to this day, a woman will get spurned for saying certain things with respect to her dating and sexual life that a guy would be celebrated for. And I kind of feel like it should be at this point equal. If a guy can say I got a whole bunch of chicks, then a girl should, or a woman should be able to say I got a whole bunch of chicks too. But you know, it kind of sounded like her commentary was very woman centric. And she talked about how they fail because women become overly concerned with what men can do for them, how much the date's going to cost, and how that must be symbolic of how good a man he is, as if that's any sort of indication. And I agree that women do that. I do think women do that. And I do think that it has a lot to do with why they aren't working. But I also believe that there are two sides to the same coin. So women are out here essentially practicing what I have coined hypergamy. But I also think that men are contributing to it because they're basically shopping for women. Like when we talked about, I forget what the subject was. We did a video a while back, and I talked about how modern relationships basically function in such a way that men operate their dating lives the same way that they go to a car dealership to buy a car, which is, I'm going to go to this place and I want to have this color paint job. I want to have this kind of interior. I want to have this kind of engine. I want to have these kind of wheels. I want to have this kind of interior, coating, and I want the laminate finish and all of this kind of stuff. And so long as I'm getting everything that I want in this car, I'm willing to spend this much money for it. Mm-hmm. These dudes out here operate their dating lives the very same way. As long as you got this kind of face and this kind of hair, this kind of body, this kind of ass, if you got the fat ass, if you got the tattoos, I'm willing to spend however much I need to spend in order to acquire that, as if she's your property. And that, combined with women acquiescing to this dynamic by saying, okay, guys, if that's what you want, let me go get the surgery. Let me go get the lifts. Let me make sure my hair game is always on point. Let me make sure I got the kind of tattoos you like. Let me make sure that aesthetically I present myself to you in a package that is worthy of the amount of money that you would want to spend for top billing, so that I can get what I want out of the deal. Relationships have become completely transactional, and that's why they fail. And we're all doing it. Women do it, men do it. Which one is worse? If you ask me, what men do is worse, because I think men set the tone. I think that if men didn't create this environment of transaction, women wouldn't feel the need to acquiesce to any sort of transaction. So it's a chicken or the egg type deal, right? Which came first? Women being about appearing in such a way so that you can pay for your transaction, or you making it about the transaction? Personally, in my opinion, I think it was about men. I think what created the situation was men making it about the transaction. If men really were like, hey man, all I care about is that you look good and you keep yourself in shape, but otherwise have good morals and values and good intrinsic, intangible qualities, women would just come to the table with intrinsic qualities. But what women have seen is, all I got to do is look like this and you'll spend all of this money. And they're just buying into the hype. So this is what you get as a result. They become business transactions, and that's why they fail. So I agree largely with what she said. The only amendment that I would add to her commentary is that it goes both ways. These guys have bought into the transactional nature of modern day relationships. I call these guys, I still use the word simps. This is what I call guys like this: slaves to vagina. I don't care about anything. All I care about is getting to the bag so that I can get to the women. And women have noticed that this is what it is. And so they're just capitulating. And that's why they fail, because they are based upon a foundation of nothingness. And the social media angle is also something that she hit on that's also correct. And I know this firsthand because I've experienced it. I even have women in my family who have affirmed this to me. God bless her. I'm not going to say her name, but I have a sibling, a younger sister. She's a modern woman, unfortunately for her. And if she sees this video, this won't come as a shock to her because I've told her this to her face. But, she's 30. And, she buys into a lot of this stuff because of the social media programming that has been impressed upon her. And, her social media programming has basically told her that guys who work 9-to-5s and have salaries aren't good enough. They're inadequate. And she now believes that. So for her, if you're a guy who is a hard worker and you have a good moral code and a work ethic and you have a career and you work a salary job, it's an indication to her that he's boring. This is what these women think. This is what they think. Don't ask me to explain it. I'm just reporting the news here. So don't ask me to explain it because there's no logic inherent in it. I'm just reporting what they're saying. And guys like that are boring to them. And boring is inadequate. And where do they get the notion that this is boring? From their feeds. Their feeds. From seeing other chicks' timelines of guys who apparently must not be boring. And how are they not boring? Oh, because he took me on vacation spontaneously. Oh, that means he's not boring. Okay. What about the other 6 days of the week where he's sitting on his couch, managing his fantasy football team and watching SportsCenter all day? He's not boring then, but he's boring because he took you on vacation. I get it. There's no logic. None of it makes sense. And it's all become completely transactional. And I agree with what she's saying. I think it's a joke. And I think it's unfortunate for those of us who are still trying to navigate this crazy world, trying to find their other person, myself included. And it is what it is. I don't think that she's wrong, but at the same time, it's rehashed territory. Nevertheless, that doesn't make it any less interesting to discuss and talk about. So,
hey man, well said. All of that. Well said, man. And yeah, man, this is again, man, we're living in a world where people have more options than just dating. Like, you can get into whatever vice you want, and it is at a fingertips touch.
Yeah.
And when that's what's going on, and you're not a centered person, you're liable to do any damn thing. And so right now, our society, they're doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said with the last topic, that guy did anything. And so what people are doing nowadays, and I mean, why be shocked at anything? And so what people are in relationships, man, when you out there and you really trying to get to know somebody, but they stay 2 or 3 deep in their phone, 3 people deep in their phone having conversations, and they're not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're encountering this over and over and over again, at some point it's like, well, what are we doing? It's a collective at this point. And so this is going on so much. Like, people are glorifying being like single, no nothing going on type of thing. And so but again, that was the same type of mind control that we were, at least I know I speak for myself, that I was buying hook, line, and sinker. Because when I was 21, 22, 23 or whatever, I'm like, hell no, family right now, sheesh, I'm about to go ball out. I'm about to go slay some things and have some seasons. And so when that was my primary objective, I was out there executing it. But then executing it at an extent to where I'm just really dealing with one-off situation after another. One-off. And when that's how you build relationships with people in general, then at some point the person has to become a narcissist by defense. Because if they're out here being empathetic to somebody who they just met off the street, basically, that person to eat them alive. So they have to have these rigid, cold ways about themselves as self-defense as they out here doing this dating thing. Then once they actually meet somebody that they're really interested in, they don't know how to open up. They've closed themselves off for so long that they don't even really know who they are, or what they really want in a relationship. All they know is that they really like this person more than they dealt with these other people. And so while they try to get in a relationship, all the stuff that they're so used to from the past is part of their function and habit. So they're going to bring that baggage into the relationship. And so when they actually have somebody around, then it can actually cause friction, because at this point, this person doesn't really know how to love the right way. And so what she's speaking to is everybody is going through this cycle of situationship after situationship. And so when that is the offense, the defense is to close yourself off. So it's this is what's happening. Social media is only making it worse. Reality television is only making it worse. So the only thing that would salvage someone from being a victim of this mind control is to unplug themselves from these things that are trying to control you. So these social media things, yeah, I mean, do your thing, but have it like a salad or something, something light over here, with some croutons. And have that as just a light appetizer or something for your life, but 3 hours binging on something like that, unless you're running a business,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Let's slow that down a little bit.
Yeah, you got to pump the brakes.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So yeah, man, this is everything we talk about damn near every week, because it's all relative. And and these are just, honestly, each one of these topics that we talk about, they're just like bits and pieces of evidence of the madness that we're constantly seeing all the time from these influences that are constantly being pumped to the people's brains. So hell, the public school system didn't help. And then with all of this stuff that people get exposed to on a daily basis, yeah, man, people are just in automatron mode. So yeah, man. And that's another reason I'm surprised they didn't like the AI rapper, because so many people are botted out.
Yeah, I know, right? There's such sheer irony. Yeah, the botted out stops once it becomes cultural, I guess. I don't know. Right. Don't ask me to make sense out of any of this, man. Like I said, man, I'm an honesty broker. I just try to report the news. But I just think at the end of the day, man, all of this stuff has become transactional. And you mentioned being aware enough to try to unplug yourself so that you are not susceptible to the influences. But it's hard to unplug yourself from something when you are not aware of the fact that you're plugged into something.
That bag, exactly.
So like, people who conduct their dating lives in a transactional manner don't realize where they got these sensibilities from.
Exactly.
They don't know. So you can't really create the separation, because for them, the multiverse is the reality. And that's the interesting thing about what social media has done. See, what social media did, it's not that a woman, for example, and this is what I started to notice years ago when this first started happening. A non-famous person, a non-public figure, a regular woman out here in regular society, she can look at Kim Kardashian's, Instagram, and there's enough of a separation from there are enough degrees of separation between Kim Kardashian and this individual for this individual to say, Kim Kardashian is doing that, but I'm not her. I don't live her life. I can't do that. There are enough degrees of separation between the top 1% or celebrities and people like this, and people who exist not in circles like that you can sort of be plugged into that type of madness, but still maintain some sense of reality, because you can understand you're a ways away from that. You're not in that. You're not Kim Kardashian. You're not any of these people. You're not Beyonce. You're not any of these types of people, right? But what really put it on its head is when people personally started to plug themselves into your matrix. So like it's homegirl three doors down from me, she can follow Kim Kardashian, and she can see Kim Kardashian going to Aruba or Dubai and think nothing of it, because hey, that's Kim Kardashian. But if you got a homegirl that you work with whose boyfriend took her to Aruba or Dubai, now we got a problem. Because now you can more directly associate yourself with that kind of situation, because this is a person who you know personally. You've been close to her, you may work with her, maybe you're friends with her, you see her gallivanting around, and now subconsciously you're saying to yourself, if she's gallivanting around, why can't I gallivant around? now you're out here looking, yeah, you got a gallivant. So now you're out here looking for a guy who can afford to make you gallivant. And the thing about it is, you don't know what that guy, you don't know what this woman who you don't know what their situation is. You don't know what that guy has going on that can afford them with the opportunity to do any kind of gallivanting. Furthermore, you don't even understand the intricacies or complexities of their relationship. You don't know that the relationship is otherwise toxic, but they're putting this out there for mass consumption on the internet. But otherwise, it's a relationship that's completely toxic and inhospitable. You don't know any of that. All you're doing is consuming what you see in front of you on your feed, and you're using that to control your behavior and your decision-making process. That's how that's the real way that this social media stuff changed the game. And guys do it too. Like guys are worse. We're worse because we're slaves to vagina. We're more slaves to vagina than women are slaves to penis, because women are ruled by different things. So a guy is looking on his feed and he's seeing these girls with this kind of body and whatnot. And so what he's doing is disregarding women who are good women, because he thinks that that's what he should be getting because his feed told him so. And so like we're all doing this stuff, and it causes us to buy into certain roles classified by gender that we believe we should ascribe to in order to make that end goal. And so for women, it's I need to make myself look this kind of way. And for us is I got to be able to spend this money. And it's just a perfect storm of all of these things working in concert simultaneously, which ends up resulting in the transactional nature of relationships, which is 100% what has ruined them. And the only people who are unaffected by this are people who, as you say, know themselves and are comfortable enough in their own skin to be able to understand that that's not actually what the world is. It just so happens that is the crowd of people who are becoming few and far between by comparison to those who are just plugged in, which is the majority of the population at this point. So,
yeah, well said, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy, but kudos to her. I hope that she lives by what she puts on her TikTok. Because if that's the case, then salute to you.
I done ran across her stuff on TikTok before, man. She be dropping facts out there on them people.
Yeah, but if you ask her what kind of guy she's into, I'd be curious to know how she would respond to that, because she can say all of that stuff, but she probably has money and height requirements of her own for the kind of guys that she would want to do. So there's a man. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to.
I know. I got that.
I'm just saying that we all have our inherent hypocrisies.
I got you.
We all contradict ourselves in some respect. So I would just be interested to hear what she has to say about that, because I feel like she wouldn't be making that kind of content if she was not single. So I am of the belief, based upon the fact that she makes that kind of content, she must be single. And if she has that kind of mind, it begs the question, why are you single? It's weird. I don't know. I think about stuff like that. But we'll go ahead and move on, man. Salute to you for that content. She's great, and I thought that was good stuff.